Hare Krishna, very warm welcome to all of you. So let us start by invoking the blessings of the Acharyas. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsa Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम 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 हरे। Once more, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One last time, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today we have to start from the 12th mantra. So anybody wants to share what we discussed last time? So there is a theme on this Ishopanishad, how it is starting, and anybody wants to say what is the latest theme we are discussing? So the latest theme is on cultivation of knowledge. So ultimately there are two types of knowledge. There is real knowledge, which is spiritual knowledge, and there is nescience. So the 11th mantra is saying that one who can learn the process of nescience and that of transcendental knowledge side by side can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death and enjoy the full blessings of immortality. So this is the conclusion of this 9th, 10th, and 11th verse. So 10th verse is the wise have explained that one result is derived from culture of knowledge and that a different result is derived from culture of nescience. So in a way, like you would say that like 10th and 11th verse are contradictory, right? In the 10th verse, it is saying that if you cultivate nescience, you will go to hellish planets, and if you will cultivate real knowledge, you will derive the result which is beneficial for you, right? But actually, if you can cultivate both the knowledge side by side, then you will know what to do and you will also know what not to do, right? Compare and contrast. So that's what Krishna has used in Bhagavad Gita also at many places. Like in Buddhi Yoga also, right? So there is this, when Krishna defines Buddhi Yoga in second chapter, he starts with Vyavasayatmaka Buddhi Rekeha Kurunanda. And then he ends with Bhogeshwarya Prasaktanam Taya Pratichedasam Vyavasayatmaka Buddhi Samadhavana Vidhyat. So Buddhi Yogi is one whose intelligence is single pointed. It is fixed on Krishna. It is basically always absorbed in Krishna and has attraction for doing activities which are pleasing to Krishna. So that is the type of intelligence we want to cultivate. And that can be cultivated by proper devotee association. But what will not help in cultivating such an intelligence is Bhogeshwarya Prasaktanam Taya Bharati Chetasam. If you are too much attached to material opulence or sense gratification, then you will not be able to cultivate single pointed intelligence fixed on Krishna. Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kare, Sudhrada Nishchaya, Krishna Bhakti Kare, Sarva Karma Krita. So like this, basically, Krishna is using this compare and contrast technique all the time in Bhagavad Gita. So similarly, here in Ishopanishad also, Krishna is using it. That if you cultivate the real knowledge, then you will go to the higher planets, and if you will cultivate nescience, you will go to like hellish planets. But the real key to advance to go towards the spiritual planets is to cultivate them side by side. Because we are living in this material world, we should know that what all are the distractions also. Because if something which we don't know, which is a distraction, and we start pursuing that, then we will be lost in that distraction for a long period, right? We will be bereft of Krishna's mercy, Krishna's grace, and Krishna's mercy, like Krishna's association. So that's why it is very important to cultivate both knowledge and science side by side while you are living in this material world. For example, yesterday we were discussing that there is a devotee couple in South India who has sent their children to Sringeri Mutt. So Sringeri Mutt is a like impersonalist mutt, but their children are becoming very sober in their consciousness and etiquette. Why? Because at home, their parents are teaching them devotional service, nice bhakti, strong, and then at school they are taught Sanskrit, and it's a mode of goodness environment, right? Although they are taught impersonalism, but actually they know what to take and what not to take. So that's why to navigate this material world in a safe way, it's very important to cultivate both knowledge and science. What all will what all will distract us from devotional service? For example, in this Kali Yuga, it's very difficult to preach real devotional service. Our Shiksha Guru used to say that there are four obstacles. One is sense gratification. Second is Mayavad. Third is our material attachments. And fourth is like even if you start practicing, then your friends will start saying, or you get distracted by some, because as we start practicing and we get some some piety from Krishna, then Krishna will give you some good opulences, auspicious material gifts, and then we become entangled in those. Then also we will not be able to spend energy for Krishna. So to practice pure devotional service, it is very difficult in this Kali Yuga, because there is no association. There are so many distractions. Mayavad is there, your own sense gratification, and like even our mental challenges are so much. Prayad alpa ayusha kalavasmin yuge jana mandas mandamatyo mandabhagya upadrita. And like when we fall in bad association, then we are not able to follow the guidance. We are not able to take the like guidance of senior devotees, and we become completely lost, right? Indriyanam hi charitam yanmano anuvidiyate tadasya harati pragyam vayur nama vivambasi. So even if one of the roaming senses it goes in the wrong place, then our boat can be lost. So if our Krishna consciousness is like a boat which has an anchor. If our anchor is tied nicely on the bed of the ocean, then the boat will not move too far. Boat will move in a particular quota in which it is allowed. But if there is no anchor, then it will go haywire. It will not be connected to Krishna or Guru, right? And this can happen even if one of our roaming senses will take our mind to in the wrong direction, which is not Krishna conscious. So we have to be very careful. Like when we are cultivating Krishna consciousness and cultivating attraction for Krishna, we should be very careful in being accountable and living our life, which is congenial for cultivating Krishna consciousness. Anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam rakshasati iti vishvaso gopritve varanam tatha. So whatever is favorable to Krishna consciousness, we should take, and whatever is not favorable, we should reject. So like this, whatever can be used in cultivating Krishna consciousness should be accepted, should never be given up, because you can never give up your Mercedes car. So like this, basically we have to connect to Krishna somehow or the other. Yena kena prakarena mana Krishna nivesh. So never give up anything which can connect you to Krishna, and always give up all those things which will not connect you to Krishna. And all these judgments require close guidance. So yeah, it is very important to consult with devotees when you are making some life-changing decisions. Okay, with that note, we'll start the 12th verse today. I think I'll project. I'm not sure whether all of you have. Andam tama pravishanti ye sambhutimupassate tato bhuya eva te tamo yahu sambhutayamrata Those who are engaged in the worship of demigods enter into the darkest region of ignorance, and still more so do the worshippers of the impersonal absolute. So this is amazing word. Actually, in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says that if you worship demigods, then it's good, actually. Because these days people are worship Sachin Tendulkar or Shah Rukh Khan or Narendra Modi, right? So they also go where they are going. Where Narendra Modi will go, they will also go. Although, like, you will develop a worshipping propensity, at least you are worshipping somebody, because it is the nature of the soul to worship somebody, because that will give you shelter. You have somebody higher and you worship him and you take his shelter, then you are feeling protected, right? Ashrita. So there is ashraya and vishya. There is subject and object. So uh, when we take shelter of the object, then the subject becomes fully satisfied, because there is an exchange of rasas between the object and subject. But here in Ashoknishad, it is saying that if we worship demigods or impersonal absolute, we are going towards hellish planets, darkest region of ignorance. Let's see what Prabhupada has to say. Purport. The Sanskrit word Sambhuti refers to those who have no independent existence. Sambhuti is the absolute personality of Godhead, who is absolutely independent of everything. In the Bhagavad Gita 10.2, the absolute personality of Godhead Sri Krishna states, Name vidu surgana prabhavam na maharshaya aham adirhi devanam maharshi namcha sarvash. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulence, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages. Thus, Krishna is the origin of the powers delegated to demigods, great sages, and mystics. Although they are endowed with great powers, these powers are limited. And thus, it is very difficult for them to know how Krishna himself appears by his own internal potency in the form of a man. So actually, to understand Krishna, it's very difficult. Even the great demigods and great sages, they are not able to understand. And there are 6 things: Ashwaryasya, Samagrasya, Viryasya, Tathash. So there are 6 things which Krishna has in extremity. Like no living entity has in that quantity. So, but those 6 things also everybody cannot understand. Even our greatest of demigods like Indra and Brahma, they got bewildered by seeing Krishna 5,000 years back. Indra became angry when Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill, right? Indra said, who is this small boy who has brainwashed these Rajvasis? They had been always giving me sacrifice. How are they sacrificing to Govardhan now? So like this, even the great demigods, they are not able to understand Krishna fully. Many philosophers and great rishis or mystics try to distinguish the absolute from the relative by their tiny brain power. This can only help them reach the negative conception of the absolute without realizing any positive trace of the absolute. Definition of the absolute by negation is not complete. Such negative definitions lead one to create a concept of one's own. Thus, one imagines that the absolute must be formless and without qualities. Such negative qualities are simply the reversals of relative material qualities and are therefore also relative. By, so basically, by conceiving the absolute in this way, one can at the most reach the impersonal effulgence of God, known as Brahman, but one cannot make further progress to Bhagavan, the personality of God. So Prabhupada also says this, that by our own mind, we cannot understand Krishna. We can only reach some negation. And that negation also will be full of duality, because this world is full of duality. There is heat, there is cold. There is father, there is son. There is winter, there is summer. There is distress, there is happiness. So Lord is above all these dualities. है ना? That verse is there, na? Ichha dvesha samuthena dvandva mohina bharata. Sarge anti parantava. So Krishna is something which is beyond these dualities, good and bad. hot and cold. And that can only be perceived by a person when you hear from a person who who perceives the Lord and who is fixed in his spiritual conception, who has heard from the authorities and who is fixed in that spiritual conception. What is that? Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. So when we hear from such a personality and absorb the sound vibration coming from them in our hearts, then we also start understanding different qualities and characteristics of Krishna. Unalloyed Shuddha and various rasas, Madhurya rasa, Dasya rasa, Shant rasa, Vatsalya, Sakya. Everything we understand slowly when we hear from such a spiritual personality. By our own mind, we cannot understand Krishna. We can, so here Prabhupada is saying we can at most reach the Brahman platform. So there are three platforms, right? Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. But our mind, we can only reach the Brahman platform. So that's why we have to make a routine program of hearing from a pure devotee. Jnane prayasudupasanamantiva jivanti sanmukaritam bhavadiya vartam sthane stitam shudigatam tanuman vanobir je prayesho jita jito abhiyasya lokya. So this is the last prayer of Lord Brahma. And even this conversation which goes between Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Rai. Lord Chaitanya is asking Ramananda Rai, what have you ascertained as the essence of spiritual life? So Ramananda Rai gives so many arguments, so many verses from the scriptures. But again, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, no, this is not the essence. Go higher, go higher. And the last verse which Ramananda Rai says is this one. Sthane sitam shudigatam tanova. So we have to stay where we are, whatever ashrama, whatever varna, whatever place we are, we have in the society. We should keep doing those things, and morning and evening we should hear from pure devotees. And when we hear from pure devotees, when we take guidance from them, when we accept their instructions, then we will advance in spiritual life. And then we will realize everything. We will realize Yat Karoshi Adashnasi. We will realize Sarva Dharman Paritejya. We will realize Varnashrama Charvata. So when we get connected to that pure devotee, then we will realize all the conclusions of scriptures. Everything else will be realized. There is no need, and there will be nothing wanting you. There will be nothing bothering you, because you will always be feeling sheltered. I have a very high shelter in my spiritual master, because I'm hearing from him morning, evening. I'm following his instructions. I'm just acting to please him. So always, like, there is no tension. There is no confusion. The consciousness is very fixed on the instructions of the spiritual master. We can always feel the mercy floating in our life, and we are always grateful for that mercy, and we are fixed in that mercy. We are fixed in that relationship. So that is actual spiritual life. And then wherever spiritual master goes, we will also go, because we are so much sincere, so much dedicated to our spiritual master's instructions and guidelines. So this is actual spiritual life. And this is best practiced in the association of like-minded people who are trying to go in the same direction. Okay. Such mental speculators do not know that the absolute personality of Godhead is Krishna, that the impersonal Brahman is the glaring effulgence of his transcendental body, or that the Paramatma, the super soul, is his all-pervading plenary presentation. So basically, you know, right? Like the sun and the moon, they are getting the energy from the Brahman effulgence of Krishna. And Brahman effulgence is the outer rays which are emanating from his Satchidananda Vigraha body. And Paramatma is the localized form of Krishna, which is residing in all of our hearts. Nor do they know that Krishna has his eternal form with its transcendental qualities of eternal bliss and knowledge. The dependent demigods and great sages imperfectly consider him to be a powerful demigod, and they consider the Brahman effulgence to be the absolute truth. So somebody say, okay, Krishna is another demigod. Krishna is like Shiva. Krishna is like Brahma. So some people say, oh, he's a great personality. But very few people understand that Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead. By his will, everything is moving. By his will, souls are coming in our life, which are giving us bhakti, which are telling us about Krishna. By his will, we are basically getting prasadam. We are getting all the things arranged in our life So Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. But the devotees of Krishna, by dint of their surrendering unto him and their unalloyed devotion, can know that he is the absolute person and that everything emanates from him. Such devotees continuously render loving service unto Krishna, the fountainhead of everything. So by devotion you can know Krishna. Tesham satati yuktanam vajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yen mamu piyanti te. So when we worship Krishna with love and affection, then Krishna will give us intelligence. And that realization will come, that revelation will come by Krishna's mercy. That how everything in our life is being shaped by Krishna. Right? I think I gave this example of embroidery in the last class, right? That Krishna is giving us so much. There might be some tribulations, there might be some opulences, but ultimately, if you see your life in a larger trajectory, larger paradigm, you will see an embroidery. You will see a design by like a design which Krishna has created out of our conditioned consciousness. So Krishna is the ultimate designer of our. He is the ultimate shaper of our consciousness also. So yeah, just like a mud pot, right? Like when the potter builds a mud pot, he keeps his hand a little bit on some side, and then the pot gets a shape. So similarly, Krishna, he basically shapes us with different situations. And ultimately, when we understand these things, when we connect every situation with Krishna, then actually we are going in the right direction. Then our faith increases, then our trust increases in Krishna, and we know that we are going in the right direction. So that's why it's very important to see the hand of Krishna behind every situation. Ekatvam anupashyati, right? Seeing every living entity as part and parcel of Krishna, and seeing the hand of Krishna behind every situation also. And that's why we can see the hand only if we have good association. We are seeing ekatvam anupashyati. We are gyan, we have gyan chakshu. We have eyes of knowledge where we are connected to Krishna. Then we will be able to see Krishna behind every act. Because actually a kick of Krishna is better than kiss of Maya. Because even if Krishna kicks me, right, then also you will feel purification. You will understand, okay, Krishna has taken out this negative, this ugly thing from my heart. So like this, Krishna is always good. Krishna is all good. He can be harder than a thunderbolt, and he can be softer than a rose. So it is Krishna's plan to take us back to Godhead. Yeah. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that only unintelligent, bewildered person driven by a strong desire for sense gratification worship the demigods for the temporary relief of temporary problems. Since the living being is materially entangled, he has to be relieved from material bondage entirely to attain permanent relief on the spiritual plane where eternal bliss, life, and knowledge exist. Sri Ishopanishad therefore instructs that we should not seek temporary relief of our difficulties by worshipping the dependent demigods, who can bestow only temporary benefit. Rather, we must worship the absolute personality of Godhead Krishna, who is all attractive and who can bestow upon us complete freedom from material bondage by taking us back home, back to God. तो ये क्लियर है क्या प्रभुपाद क्या कह रहे हैं इसको कोई एक्सप्लेन करना चाहेगा So basically if we approach demigods, like you will get the fruits immediately. Like कहते हैं ना कि चट मंगनी पट ब्याह तो वो हो जाएगा अगर आप डेमिगॉड से कोई मटेरियल फ्रूट मांगोगे लेकिन when you go to Krishna, then Krishna will not fulfill the material desire immediately. Like he will take his own time. He will purify you. Because he knows that you are a sincere devotee. You are a very nice devotional soul. So anything which will spoil your bhakti, which will take you down, he will not give. But for that, you have to be sincere. If your heart is already having so many problems, so many attitude problems towards devotees, towards Krishna, you are not humble, you are not receptive, then Krishna will not like Krishna will not care so much what is there. But if you are humble and suppose some material desire comes, then Krishna will not sanction that material desire. Krishna will purify that material desire by bringing some situation in your life. And a devotee is like that. A devotee is one who is feeling so full in himself that even if there are so many material desires entering into him, he is not bothered. He is not distracted by those material desires. He is just like an ocean in which there are so many rivers are entering, but the water of the ocean is not disturbed. The rivers are entering, but the ocean is totally still and feeling full in itself. That is a devotee. That is a real devotee. So that's why, like, we are encouraging people to chant more, hear more. We are creating platforms so that people can hear and chant, so that they can they can water their seeds, and the seeds can turn into nucleus, because our everybody's heart is like a vessel, and the more water you receive in your vessel, the more full you will become, the more happy you will become, the more you will understand that what is a goal of life, where to go, how to go, and what association is good, what is not good. Then your intuition, your sense control, and your perception will increase. Your Krishna consciousness will increase. Okay. So I think we can do a group discussion here. We discussed that, like, from our life, if we can have one situation where, like, one thing which we did not like, which Krishna did with us, and the other thing is, like, sometimes we had material desire, then what happened after that, like some situation you can describe. We touched upon two main philosophical points, that ultimately Krishna might give you good opulences also, or Krishna might, like, purify you also by bringing difficult situation. So, like, anything which you can relate to your personal life, you can share. You can take 2 minutes and then we'll share. Is the question clear to everybody?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yes, question is clear to us. To me, sorry.
Okay. You want to share something?
Just give me another 5 minutes.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can you repeat the question, because I am on road and sort of noise nearby.
You have to share one situation of your life where you saw Krishna, basically, and how Krishna behaved with you. For example, Krishna might have sent you a problem, and how that problem has helped you to advance in devotional service. Some realization from your life. It might be a problem, or it might be some material opulence, or it might be some situation where you are practicing devotion very peacefully. So, like that, basically.
Okay.
Because generally in our life, like, most of the things, we are not controller, right? Like, maybe we might have control over 5% of our life, but rest 95% some external power is control, right? So how do you see that 95%? How is it impacting your life? Anybody wants to share, or because we have a lot to cover today, like we have to cover 3 verses.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. May I?
Good.
Before I think before starting chanting, I was so much scared about the security of my children future. Because earlier we were having a good financial condition, but due to some losses incurred in corona time, my husband business got struck down. So earlier before starting chanting, I was so much scared about the future of my children. But as I was absorbing chanting in my mind, my mind settled down, and now I have left everything over Krishna, and now Krishna is arranging things so nicely that I have left everything over him only.
Yeah.
Or I can say in nutshell that I was money minded. I was thinking so much investment for my children, but now I have left everything.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji, for sharing that.
Hmm.
Actually, this is reality. When our devotion increases, then by default, Krishna takes care of everything. Because that is the purpose, More than us, Krishna is eager to take us back to Godhead. So when we start practicing devotion, oh, Krishna sees this soul is practicing, this soul is advancing in his consciousness. I will take care of it. Fully, he takes care, actually. Because that is the purpose of life. For that purpose, this material world is made. And many times we start making our own plans, but when our devotion increases, then Krishna shows his own plans, and then we understand, okay, this is his plan. But we should not stop making our plans. Little bit small plans we should make to serve Krishna, to serve our family members, to make them Krishna conscious. Some little plans we should have, but ultimately we have to link our plan with Krishna's plan, and that is the Satya Sankalpa basically. That when you are connected with Krishna will give you intelligence. Okay, this much is there, this I am indicating that this might help. Then you, whatever your propensity is, you connect your propensity with that indication. So that is the best, and that needs guidance and reciprocation, right? And corona was also like mercy only, right? Like right now the society is going like away from Vedic civilization, right? Like nobody is following the rules and regulations. There is no cow protection. There is no protection of brahmanas. Who knows? Like how much percent of population knows? Only maybe 2-3% knows that brahmana should be protected. Krishna consciousness should be prioritized. Cows should be protected. But Prabhupada writes in his books that without protection of brahmanas and cows, there is no possibility of human life. And if you are not protecting brahmanas and cows, you are by default going towards animal society, where you are just indulging in sense gratification. You don't have time to introspect. You don't have time to read Bhagavad Gita, right? Yesterday only I was discussing with my wife that previously, like people used to come together, like they used to come together with family members, and whenever they used to talk to each other, they used to ask that how happy you are in your relationship with God. And they used to discuss with each other, okay, how can I improve? How can I be a better mother? How can I be a better grandmother? How can I be a better friend? How can I be a better brother? So these things were discussed among each other. And now, like, at least we have ISKCON where we are doing these things. But if you see other society, like it's more about like coming together and doing hoo-ha. We will go to some cinema hall, watch the movie, eat a softie, and okay, done. There is no higher cause. There is no higher goal. There is no higher understanding that we are not this body, we are spirit soul, and we have to cultivate the Vaishnava qualities. We have to become more solid. We have to become more full of substance, more full of empathy. Right? Those qualities are missing in today's age, and that's why the nature is so arrogant with today's population. Problems like corona, and there are viruses, there is floods, there is earthquakes, there is droughts, because we are not following the scriptures. Actually, this is the essence, this is the reality. People become confused so much in India, like whether we should study, whether we should go to software, whether we should go to like cinematography, whether we should serve the NGOs, whether we should work in a factory. But actually, whatever you do, at least you connect yourself with Krishna. Then there will be less confusion in your mind. You follow the instructions of Srila Prabhupada. Then there will be less, because there will be more substance in your heart. You will be more confident in your relationship with Krishna. And then there will be more clarity, because there will be more fearlessness. Just like Bharti Mataji is saying that she is feeling fearless because as when he started like connecting with this group. Because we know now, because when we experience Krishna, we know that Krishna will take care. Krishna is taking care of us. Krishna will take care of our children, of our family. So that sense of detachment also comes. So we should keep doing our duties and rest, leave the rest on Krishna. Our aim is to just chant, read, hear, and experience Krishna. That is it. That is the business, main business in Kali Yuga. Kale Radosh Nide Rajan, Kalau Vasti Eko Mahadguna, Kirtana Deva Krishnasya, Mukta Sangha Param Raja. So if you do Kirtan in this Kali Yuga, you will go to Vraja, land of Vraja. So that's why I'm encouraging all of you to join timely also. We are doing Kirtan. Kirtan is most auspicious, most beneficial. Yesterday only Prabhupada was saying that if you do Kirtan, then eventually you will talk to Krishna. You will experience Krishna moment to moment. Krishna will talk to you. Krishna will tell you, I want to eat halwa today. I want to wear green color dress. All these things Krishna himself will tell if you do proper Kirtan, proper bhajan in your life. So these are not like fiction. This is reality actually. You can experience it. When you when you advance slowly, you can experience a reciprocation of Krishna in every sphere of life. Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Very nice share. Anything else anybody wants to share or continue reading?
Yeah, Prabhuji, I have got a question.
Yes, bro.
When you say Brahminical, you have to say Brahminical thing, Brahmin cows.
Mm.
Brahminical, you don't mean Pandits and all that, right? You mean Vaishnavas.
No, I didn't get the question.
When you say we have to take care of Brahminical people, Brahminical culture,
Ah.
Brahmins, for example, Brahmins. I mean, when you say Brahminical culture means that we have to imbibe Brahminical culture, or we have to save Brahmins and we should save them from wrongdoings. Because Brahmins in today's words is, let's say, Pandit, but Pandit do all sort of nonsense things.
Yeah,
When you say Brahmin, so that means Vaishnavas, I think.
yeah, yes. That's a good question actually. So in Kali Yuga, there are no qualified Brahmanas, right? But by donating to ISKCON, by promoting their basically their welfare, their prasadam, you are doing Brahman service. So,
That is Brahmin, Vaishnavas, yeah.
because they
And the
are
culture they
not.
are following.
Huh?
And the culture they are following, the lifestyle they are leading, the
Ah.
Vaishnavas lifestyle is something which we have to imbibe.
Yes. Brahmachari Gurukule Vasandanto Guru Ritam Acharan Dasvatnicho Guru Sudrit Swarat. So we have to increase our own Brahmanical qualification also, our own Brahmanical qualities also, and we have to motivate and give donations and encourage to other people also who are cultivating these qualities, right? So a Brahmana, he doesn't work, he doesn't earn money, he is completely dependent on Krishna for his welfare. So those people we should support, we should maintain. And because they are cultivating Krishna consciousness, they are like morning and evening, they are cultivating Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, they are going for Harinam Sankirtan, they are preaching. So they have totally dedicated their life for preaching the name of Krishna consciousness. They are completely absorbed. So we should motivate those activities. And that's why ISKCON is the best place which we can do. And even like our whatever we want to do, we can also do. These are all Brahmanical projects, like starting a Gurukula or making a Gaushala, right? Or doing a school, or like starting a base where college preaching you are doing, college people are coming and they are learning about Krishna. They are cultivating this attraction for hearing of Krishna. Even this Bhakti Shastri, like there are so many Prabhupada's quotes that you should continue reading the scriptures in a systematic way. You should read my books, and in that way you will learn everything. you will become Krishna conscious. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for the answer.
Thank you, bro. So all these platforms which we have created, that is to support your Brahmanical growth, right? So that we can understand your spirit. So we are not exploding. Okay. Anybody wants to read next paragraph? Again. Rajit, yes. Next paragraph.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Dhanvatad.
It is stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.23 that the worshippers of the demigods can go to the planets of the demigods. The, the moon worshippers can go to the moon, the sun worshippers to the sun, except the modern scientists are now venturing to the moon with the help of rockets. But this is not really a new attempt. With their advanced consciousness, human beings are naturally inclined to travel in outer space and to reach other planets, either by spaceships, mystic powers, or demigod worship. In the Vedic scripture, it is said that one can reach other planets by any one of these three ways, but that most common way is by worshipping the demigod residing over a particular planet. In this way, one can reach the moon planet, the sun planet, and even Brahmaloka, the topmost planet in the universe. However, all planets in the material universe are temporary residences. The only permanent planets are the Vaikuntha lokas. These are found in the spiritual sky where the personality of Godhead himself predominates, as Lord Krishna stated in the Bhagavad Gita 8.16. Brahman Bhuvani Lokaha Punartarvintu Arjuna Mamukteya Hitu Kaunteya Punarjanmana Vidyate. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Abrahma Bonal Loka Punaravartino Arjuna Mamapete to Konteya Punarjanmana Vidyate. So what are the three ways to transport to other planets? Very, very. Excuse me. Can anybody tell what are the three ways we can transport ourselves to other planets? It is mentioned in this paragraph. Nobody can tell. प्रज्ञा माता जी, प्रजीत प्रभु, आपने तो अभी पैराग्राफ पढ़ा है, पढ़ के बता दो।
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. तो क्वेश्चन एक बार रिपीट कर दीजिए.
Three ways बात बोले ना कि how we can transport ourselves to other planets.
वो by science Prabhu, like go by rockets.
That is one. That is one. That is
Yes, by spaceship Prabhu, by mystic power, and by devotional service.
a demigod worship. Yeah. Devotional service, you will go to Vaikuntha directly. No necessary going to other planets. Okay. All the other devotees, they are present in the class or they are doing something else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, by worshipping the demigods, we will go ahead to other planets.
Okay. So from the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. Sri Ishopnishad points out that one who worships the demigods and attains to their material planets still remains in the darkest region of the universe. The whole universe is covered by the gigantic material elements. It is just like a coconut covered by a shell and half filled with water. Since its covering is airtight, the darkness within is dense, and therefore the sun and the moon are required for illumination. Outside the universe is the vast and unlimited Brahma Jyoti expansion, which is filled with Vaikuntha lokas. the biggest and highest planet in the Brahmajyoti is Krishna Loka or Golok Vrindavan, where the Supreme Personality of Godhead Shri Krishna himself resides. Lord Shri Krishna never leaves Krishna Loka. Although he dwells there with his eternal associates, he is omnipresent throughout the complete material and spiritual cosmic manifestation. This fact has already been explained in Mantra 4. The Lord is present everywhere, just like the sun, yet he is situated in one place, just as the sun is situated in its own undeviating orbit. Okay. So Prabhupada is giving an outline of the entire. So actually we are in the Bhuloka, which is the 7th planetary system. And like this, there are 14 planetary systems, which is actually our universe. And above this universe, there is like spiritual planets. You will see the Brahman effulgence, and after the Brahman effulgence, there are spiritual planets. And the topmost spiritual planet is the Vaikuntha Loka. And even there are multiple Vaikuntha planets, and the topmost Vaikuntha planet is the Golok Vrindavan, where Krishna resides. So ultimately, we have to cultivate our seed of devotion in such a way that we can reach the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna in Golok Vrindavan. We have to cut across all the Brahman effulgence, all the coverings of this universe. Okay. The problems of life cannot be solved simply by going to the moon planet or to some other planet above or below it. Therefore, Sri Ishopanishad advises us not to bother with any destination within this dark material universe, but to try to get out of it and reach the effulgent kingdom of God. So here Prabhupada is clearing this doubt. I posed a doubt in the starting, right? So basically, even if you go to higher planets by worshipping demigods, that is also considered a dark material universe, because there also you will take a body, you will do some sense gratification, there will be pain of birth, pain of death, there will be diseases little bit. So all those, so the complete package will be there. So that's why that planet also is a dark material universe. There are many pseudo worshippers who become religionists only for the sake of name and fame. Such pseudo religionists do not wish to get out of this universe and reach the spiritual sky. They only want to maintain the status quo in the material world under the garb of worshipping the Lord. The atheists and impersonalists lead such foolish pseudo religionists into the darkest regions by preaching the cult of atheism. The atheist directly denies the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the impersonalists support the atheist by stressing the impersonal aspect of the Supreme Lord. Thus far, we have not come across any mantra in Sri Ishopanishad in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead is denied. It is said that he can run faster than anyone. Those who are running after other planets are certainly persons, and if the Lord can run faster than all of them, how can he be impersonal? The impersonal conception of the Supreme Lord is another form of ignorance arising from an imperfect conception of the Absolute. Okay, so basically we should not become distracted by impersonalists and atheists, because those who are pseudo worshippers, those who don't want to go to the spiritual planets, they are distracted by the atheists. The ignorant pseudo-religionists and the manufacturer of so-called incarnations who directly violate the Vedic injunctions are liable to enter into the darkest region of the universe because they mislead those who follow them. So ये मतलब this is clear ना कि मतलब the blind leading a blind, है ना? मतलब अगर आप blind man को follow करोगे, तो अगर blind man गड्ढे में गिरेगा, तो आप भी गड्ढे में गिर जाओगे. तो इसलिए हमें उसको फॉलो करना चाहिए, वन हु इज गोइंग टू हायर प्लैनेट्स, गोइंग टू स्पिरिचुअल प्लैनेट्स. And in the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that the results derived from worshipping the demigods are not permanent. Since the entire material universe is impermanent, whatever is achieved within the darkness of material existence is also impermanent. The question is how to obtain real and permanent life. So this piety which you are receiving from attending these Bhagavad Gita sessions, these Bhakti Shastri sessions, this piety is permanent. This is not impermanent. But if you ask for some material fruit from demigods, that will be impermanent. For example, we have Tanusha Mataji here, right? She used to attend sessions in Google. But even if, like we got disconnected for some time, she has that spark to get connected to Krishna. So now again she is here. So this spark, this piety, this bhakti credits, they get deposited in our eternal bank account. Like they are not material. Like one day it is there, one day it is not there. So when you have relationship with devotees which is spiritual, there might be some misunderstandings at some point of time, but eventually that attraction for their Vaishnava qualities will always be there. So that's why this Krishna consciousness is on an eternal platform. It is not on any like duality platform. Some like here today, gone tomorrow, right? Like today it is there, tomorrow it is not. So that is duality. Like that is Maya, which is not, which you see, which really it is not, right? So, but the real absolute truth is something which persists, which is always the same. So that's why this attending this connecting to Krishna gives piety which is eternal, which gets deposited in your eternal bank account. The Lord states that as soon as one reaches him by devotional service, which is the one and only way to approach the personality of Godhead, one attains complete freedom from the bondage of birth and death. In other words, the path of salvation from the material clutches fully depends on the principles of knowledge and detachment gained from serving the Lord. So ultimately, to get out of the material entanglement, we have to do devotional service, which will arise in jnana and vairagya, knowledge and detachment. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janate Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayat Ahituk. So you can understand that you are practicing devotional service in the right way and you are advancing if this knowledge and detachment both are awakening. Just like Bharti Mataji, she shared, right? Like she stopped worrying about her kids after she advanced in devotional service. So that is the clear proof that you are advancing. So that's how we have to understand that we are satisfied with whatever Krishna is giving. Then we are pretty sure that we are advancing in devotional service. So the pseudo-religionists have neither knowledge nor detachment from material affairs. For most of them want to live in the golden shackles of material bondage under the shadow of philanthropic activity disguised as religious principles. तो ये एक मतलब माया का जो लास्ट लेयर ऑफ माया है वो ये है कि हम जब मतलब कुछ मानव सेवा करते हैं और उसको हम किसी धर्म का नाम दे देते हैं तो वो मतलब वो भक्ति नहीं होती आज वो एक मतलब हम अपने आप का दिखाने के लिए करते हैं कि हाँ हम कितना अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं तो वो एक ट्रिक होती है माया की बेसिकली. By false display of religious sentiments, they present a show of devotional service while indulging in all sorts of immoral activities. In this way, they pass as spiritual masters and devotees of God. Such violators of religious principles have no respect for the authoritative acharyas, the holy teachers in the strict disciplic succession. They ignore the Vedic injunction, Acharya Upasana. One must worship the Acharya and Krishna's statement in the Bhagavad Gita, Evam Parampara Praptam. This supreme science of God is received through the disciplic succession. Instead, to mislead the people in general, they themselves become so-called acharyas, but they do not even follow the principles of the acharyas. So basically, in this paragraph, it is very, very vehemently Prabhupada is hitting this danda that you should hear from those devotees who are connected in disciplic succession. Because if you hear from those devotees who are doing something of their own, which is not connected to Prabhupada, then they will have their separate agenda, right? And then you will that impurity, that contamination will come unto you also. For example, there was Nidhi Mataji in our group, right? Now she has stopped attending. So she was hearing from somebody else also, which she likes. But that is not directly in our disciplic succession. So that's how we become confused and we go out of the zone of mercy. So that's why we should hear from those devotees who are well defined authorities by our senior devotees, like Gauranga Prabhu and all the Prabhupada disciples, Radhanath Swami, Prabhupada Swami, all those like senior disciples we should hear from. So this is very important. We should not hear from anywhere. Because right now there is a great spiritual marketplace where you can just directly go to YouTube and you can hear from Swami Mukundanand also, all those things. But we don't know, like who are impersonalists and who are actual bhakti yogis. So that's why it's very important to consult about hearing, the source of hearing also. So yeah, like that's what. Any questions on this? We are about to complete this. These rogues are the most dangerous elements in human society because there is no religious government. They escape punishment by the law of the state. So because the government is not religious, they are not Krishna conscious. They are not able to detect these people and punish them. Otherwise, if like people like Parikshit Maharaj are there, they will immediately like put all the Mayavadis in a center, in a separate ashram. They will not let Mayavadis affect the bhakti yogis. They cannot, however, escape the law of the Supreme, who has clearly declared in Bhagavad Gita that envious demons in the garb of religious propagandists shall be thrown into the darkest regions of hell. Bhagavad Gita 16.19 and 20. Sri Upanishad confirms that these pseudo-religionists are heading towards the most obnoxious place in the universe after the completion of their spiritual master business, which they conduct simply for sense gratification. So actually, these people, they are envious of the Lord. And I think we can, since we are not able to read Bhagavad Gita, we can read this verse. So Prabhupada is giving reference to the 16th chapter where the nature of divine and demoniac is given, and especially referring to the 20th verse. So in this verse, it is written that the people who have demoniac propensities, they are again and again put into one of the most abominable conditions in every life by being given in a birth of a demoniac mother. Yeah. Asurim yonim apanna muda janmani mam aprapyeva kaunteya tato yanti adamam gati. Attaining repeated birth amongst the species of demoniac life, O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Gradually they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. Yeah. Bharti Mata, you want to read this purport?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, yes, sure. It is known that God is all merciful, but here we find that God is never merciful to the demoniac. It is clearly stated that the demoniac people, life after life, are put into the wombs of similar demons and not achieving the mercy of the Supreme Lord. They go down and down, so that at last they achieve bodies like those of cats, dogs, and hogs. It is clearly stated that such demons have practically no chance of receiving the mercy of God at any stage of later life. In the Vedas also it is stated that such persons gradually sink to become dogs and hogs. It may be then argued in this connection that God should not be advertised as all merciful if he is not merciful to such demons. In answer to this question, in the Vedanta Sutra, we find that the Supreme Lord has no hatred for anyone. The placing of the asuras, the demons, in the lowest status of life is simply another feature of his mercy. Sometimes the asuras are killed by the Supreme Lord, but this killing is also good for them. For in Vedic literature, we find that anyone who is killed by the Supreme Lord becomes liberated. There are instances in history of many asuras, Ravan, Kans, Hiranyakashipu, to whom the Lord appeared in various incarnations just to kill them. Therefore, God's mercy is shown to the asuras if they are fortunate enough to be killed by him. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So basically, that's why this chapter is very important to understand what are demoniac qualities and what are divine qualities. Because in this, Prabhupada is saying that once you acquire some demoniac qualities and you keep acting on them, then you keep falling down lower and lower and lower. And ultimately, you reach the bodies of cats and dogs and hogs. So that is the whirlpool of material world. And that's why we should be conscious of our qualities, conscious of our consciousness, that what is going on in our subtle mind, what are the qualities we are carrying, what are the anarthas we are carrying. And we should basically, whenever a difficult situation comes, whenever we take association of devotees, some misunderstanding comes, that is a clear indication that Krishna wants you to take that demoniac quality out of your consciousness, because these demoniac qualities, they will take us away from Krishna. And you are seeing here, like, Krishna doesn't take responsibility of anybody's karma, anybody's anarthas. We ourselves have to purify ourselves. Krishna might indicate something. If you take association of devotees, they might indicate something, but ultimately we have to take responsibility of our own. So that's why this verse is very important, actually. Okay, any questions on this? Everybody understood, huh? So we'll continue our next verse. Anya devahu sambhavaha nanyadahurasambhava iti sushrumadhiranam yenastad vichachakshire. It is said that one result is obtained by worshipping the supreme cause of all causes, and that another result is obtained by worshipping what is not supreme. All this is heard from the undisturbed authorities who clearly explain. So what we are worshipping is very important, because the thing which we follow, the thing which we take shelter of, that becomes our destiny. As I told, as we were discussing, I think 3-4 days back, that problems will be there for both devotees and non-devotees. But the most important thing is what you are taking shelter of. And the thing which you take shelter of, that shapes your destiny. Suppose there is a problem in your family, then whom do you consult? Are you going to like ice cream parlor or restaurant or bar to drink alcohol, or are you taking devotee association and consulting them? If you are consulting devotees, then Krishna will be pleased and your spiritual progress will be made. But if you keep on doing the sense gratification, then you will go on the downside here. So anybody wants to read? Pragya Mataji, want to read? The first. Yes, good.
Yes, Prabhuji. The system of hearing from undisturbed authorities is approved in this mantra. Unless one hears from a bona fide acharya
Okay.
who is never disturbed by the changes of material and cannot audible.
हाँ, बीच बीच में ब्रेक हो रहा है शायद.
प्रभुजी ये ईयरफोन्स.
हाँ, आप शुरू से पढ़िए एक बार, अच्छे से कनेक्ट करें.
Yes, Prabhuji. The system of hearing from undisturbed authorities is approved in this mantra. Unless one hears from a bona fide acharya who is never disturbed by the changes of the material world, one cannot have the real key to understand knowledge. The bona fide spiritual master who has also heard the Shruti mantras or Vedic knowledge from his undisturbed acharyas never presents anything that is not mentioned in the Vedic literature. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.25, it is clearly said that those who worship the Pitras or forefathers attains the planet of the forefathers. That the progress is clearly said that those who worship the Pitras, gross materialists who make plans to. Sorry, Prabhuji.
स्लो पढ़ लीजिए, कोई बात, थोड़ा स्लो पढ़ लीजिए.
That the gross materialists who make plans to remain here stay in this world, and that the devotees of the Lord who worship none but Lord Krishna, the supreme cause of all causes, reach him in his spiritual sky. Here also in Sri Ishopanishad, it is verified that other achieves different results by different modes of worship. If the worship of Supreme Lord we will certainly reach him in his eternal abode. And if we worship demigods like the sun god or moon god, we can reach their respective planets without a doubt. But if we wish to remain on this wretched, Prabhuji, wre-
Wretched plan.
wretched planet with our planning commissions, but our stopgap political adjustment, we can certainly do that also.
तो प्रभुपाद बड़ा फन बनाते हैं हमारी गवर्नमेंट. कोई क्वेश्चन है क्या?
No, Prabhuji.
ठीक है. थैंक यू माता जी. हरे कृष्ण. तो इसमें भगवत गीता में एक वर्ष है, यान्ति देवव्रता देवान पितृन्यान्ति पितृव्रता भूतानि यान्ति भूतेज्य madhyajino apima. So basically, one who worships Pitris, he goes to planets of Pitris, Pitriloka. One who worships demigods, he goes to Devloka. And one who worships me, he goes to Krishna Loka. So Krishna is telling this in 7th chapter. So that's why, like, we should hear from the undisturbed acharyas. Undisturbed means dhira. They are not agitated by the changing material world. For example, I remember that during Kartik, when all the senior preachers, they go to Vrindavan, they always say this one thing, that here, if you come to Vrindavan, Vrindavan is always Vrindavan. Like, there is so much spiritual vibration, there is so much Krishna Katha, so much Madhurya Ras. Everything is auspicious. But when you go to the other world, the material world, Bangalore, Delhi, and all Bombay, Calcutta, there is so much hustle bustle. There is so much chaos. People are running here and there. So these two are two different worlds. Like, that other place will always remain in chaos, and Vrindavan will always be in Madhurya Rasa. So it is very wonderful, right? Like, people who are living in Vrindavan, they are always absorbed in Krishna, discussing about Krishna, hearing about Krishna, chanting Krishna's names, visiting Krishna's holy places. And in the other places, like, people are making their plans to go to to go to hellish planets. So that's why Prabhupada is saying that if you want to continue to live in this world with this planning commission and stopgap political adjustment, then you are, like, welcome to do so. But this is wretched. Wretched means wicked planet. Like, this is already broken. You will not achieve higher results. You will go to hellish planets only if you stick to the civilization which is going on right now, which is not following any rules and regulations. So that's what Prabhupada is saying, that ultimately we should follow the undisturbed authorities. Okay. Any questions on this? Because generally our conceptions are different. Like, our education system is different, but Prabhupada's education system is different. So yeah, feel free to ask any questions if you have. Nowhere in authentic scriptures is it said that one will ultimately reach the same goal by doing anything or worshipping anyone. तो जैसे कई बार बोलते हैं ना कि हम किसी को बोलें कि कृष्णा को भजो, कृष्णा की चैंटिंग करो, तो कहते क्या नहीं मैं कर रहा हूँ, मैं ओम नमः शिवाय कर रहा हूँ, मैं भी पहुंच जाऊंगा वहीं जहां तुम पहुंच रहे हो. तो ये ऐसा नहीं होता है. ये यथोपत तथोमत नहीं होता है कि अगर आपको बैंगलोर जाना है तो आप बॉम्बे की ट्रेन पकड़ के बैंगलोर चले जाओगे क्या. वही प्रभुपाद कह रहे हैं कि अगर आपको कृष्णा लोक जाना है तो आपको कृष्णा को ही वर्शिप करना पड़ेगा. शिवा और ब्रह्मा को वर्शिप करने से नहीं जाओगे आप लोग वृंदावन. तो ये क्लैरिटी होनी चाहिए हमारे पर्पस में, हमारे एक्शंस में. मतलब जो हमारे माइंड में है वही हमारी स्पीच में रिफ्लेक्ट होना चाहिए. जो हमारी फेथ है वही हमारे एक्शंस में रिफ्लेक्ट होना चाहिए. तब हमारा, तो ये जो सन्यासी का जो डंडा होता है वो यही रिफ्लेक्ट करता है कि जो उनके हार्ट में है वही माइंड में है, और जो माइंड में है वही स्पीच में है. तो ये तीनों चीजें जब अलाइंड होती हैं तो अपने आप ही हम भगवत धाम जाते हैं. तो ये चीजें हमें अलाइन करनी है. और इवन व्हेन यू चैंट फ्रॉम द सोल, देन ऑल दीज थ्री थिंग्स, द हार्ट, द माइंड एंड द बॉडी शुड बी अलाइंड. It means the vibration should come directly from the soul. It should not be just hackneyed Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Our Guru Maharaj gives a seminar on chanting from the soul. Yeah, maybe sometimes we can hear that whenever all of you are free. So that's why the standards are very high actually. Like we have to understand that we are a spirit soul. And we can understand those things only when we hear from authorities who have understood that they are spirit soul. Okay. Such foolish theories are offered by self-made spiritual masters who have no connection with the parampara, the bona fide system of disciplic succession. तो ये यथोपत तथोमत कोई भी बोल देता है, मतलब उसने कभी सुना नहीं है किसी अथॉरिटी से. The bona fide spiritual master cannot say that all paths lead to the same goal and that anyone can attain this goal by his own mode of worship of demigods or of the supreme or whatever. Any common man can very easily understand that a person can reach his destination only when he has purchased a ticket for that destination. A person who has purchased a ticket for Calcutta can reach Calcutta but not Bombay. ये वही वाला एग्जांपल रोकपा दे रहे हैं जैसे मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि आपको अगर बैंगलोर जाना है तो आप बॉम्बे की टिकट नहीं लेके बैंगलोर नहीं जा सकते, आपको बैंगलोर की ही ट्रेन पकड़नी पड़ेगी. But the so-called spiritual masters say that any and all paths will take one to the supreme goal. Such mundane and compromising offers attract many foolish creatures who become puffed up with their manufactured methods of spiritual realization. The Vedic instructions do not uphold them. Unless one has received knowledge from the bona fide spiritual master who is in the recognized line of disciplic succession, one cannot have the real thing as it is. Krishna tells Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, Evam parampara praptam imam rajasyayo vidu sakalene mahata yoga nasta parantam. Okay? So basically we should choose a guru who himself has heard in the disciplic succession. And when we choose a guru who is Shrotriyam Brahmanistam, then we ourselves should also aspire to reach that level. Then we can also become guru. So slowly we have to cultivate. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has told, Yare deke tarak hai, Krishna upadesh. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling everybody to become a guru, to preach Krishna consciousness. Wherever you go, whomsoever you meet, you tell about Krishna. Okay. Bharti Mata, can you read next two paragraphs? Ravi Prabhu has not read.
Yes, sure, Prabhuji. When Lord Shri Krishna was present on this earth, the Bhakti Yoga principle defined in the Bhagavad Gita had become distorted. Therefore, the Lord had to re-establish the disciplic system, beginning with Arjun, who was the most confidential friend and devotee of the Lord. The Lord clearly told Arjun Bhagavad Gita 4.3 that it was because Arjun was his devotee and friend that he could understand the principles of the Bhagavad Gita. In other words, only the Lord's devotee and friend can understand the Gita. This also means that only one has followed the path of Arjun can understand the Bhagavad Gita. At the present moment, there are many interpreters and translators of the sublime dialogue who care nothing for Lord Krishna or Arjuna. Such interpreters explain the verses of the Bhagavad Gita in their own way and postulate all sorts of rubbish in the name of the Gita. Such interpreters believe neither in Sri Krishna nor in his eternal abode. How then can they explain the Bhagavad Gita? Krishna. Okay.
You can continue.
Okay, sure. Krishna clearly says that only those who have lost their sense worship the demigods for paltry rewards. Bhagavad Gita 7.2023. Ultimately, he advises that one give up all other ways and modes of worship and fully surrender into him. Alone Bhagavad Gita 18.68. You can just hold down. Only those who are cleansed of all sinful reaction can have such unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord. Others will continue hovering on the material platform with their paltry ways of worship and thus will be misled from the real path under the false impression that all the paths led to the same goal. In this mantra of Shri Ishopanishad, the word Sambhav by worship of the supreme cause is very significant. Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and everything that exists has emanated from him. In the Bhagavad Gita 10.8, the Lord says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mantah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhav samanvitah. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly knows this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Here is a correct description of the Supreme Lord given by the Lord Himself. The word Sarvasya Prabhav indicate that Krishna is the creator of everything, including Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And because these three principal deities of the material world are created by the Lord is the creator of all that exists in the material and spiritual worlds. In the Atharvaveda, Gopala Tapan Upanishad 1.24, it is similarly said, He who existed before the creation of Brahma and who enlightened Brahma with Vedic knowledge is Lord Shri Krishna. Similarly, the Narayan Upanishad 1 states, Then the Supreme Person Narayan desired to create all living beings. Uh, please, Prabhuji, please ask someone to continue.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, I was just thinking that actually it's very easy to preach to Matajis, right? Like Mataji's heart are very soft, and if they start practicing devotion, like so many people get benefited, like all the children they have, because they are the backbone of our Vedic society. And ultimately, students don't need to material education; they need just the devotion of the mother. If mother is devotional, then ultimately children also become devotional, and then their aim of life is fulfilled. There is nothing else to do. And sometimes there are challenges we just have to tolerate those challenges and try to fix our mind in Krishna. So challenges will be there, but there is a lot of value in preaching to Matajis, because the home will become Krishna conscious. Ultimately, husband who is agitated by the external material world, when he will come to the home, he will also become Krishna conscious, and he will feel that positive vibration, that attraction from the with the home also. So it's very important actually, and that is the essence. That is the only thing Matajis have to do. Only this increase your devotion and nicely do whatever you are doing for Krishna, and just tolerate whatever challenges you are coming. Don't be so much distracted or demotivated. We can learn from Bharti Mata, right? Like she's so confident, and yeah, she's teaching her children also. Since Narayana is a plenary manifestation of Lord Krishna, Narayana and Krishna are one and the same. The Narayana Upanishad also states Devki's son is the Supreme Lord. The identity of Narayana with the Supreme Cause has also been accepted and confirmed by Sripad Shankaracharya, even though Shankara does not belong to the Vaishnava or personalist cult. The Atharvaveda also states only Narayana existed in the beginning, when neither Brahma, nor Shiva, nor fire, nor water, nor stars, nor sun, nor moon existed. The Lord does not remain alone but creates as he desires. Krishna himself states in the Moksha Dharma, I created the Prajapatis and the Rudras. They do not have complete knowledge of me because they are covered by my illusory energy. It is also stated in Varapuran, Narayana is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and from him the four-headed Brahma was manifested, as well as Rudra, who later became omniscient. So basically, Narayana is creating all the Prajapatis who can increase the population of this material world. Thus, all Vedic literature confirms that Narayana is the cause of all causes. In the Brahma Samhita also it is said that Supreme Lord is Sri Krishna, Govinda, the delighter of every living being and the primal cause of all causes. The really learned persons know this from evidence given by the great sages at the Vedas. And thus they decide to worship Lord Krishna as all in all. Such persons are called Buddha or really learned because they worship only Krishna. The conviction that Krishna is all in all is established when one hears a transcendental message from the undisturbed Acharya with faith and love. One who has no faith in or love for Lord Krishna cannot be convinced of this simple truth. Those who are faithless are described in the Bhagavad Gita as Mudas, fools or asses. It is said that the Mudas deride the personality Godhead because they do not have complete knowledge from the undisturbed Acharya. One who is disturbed by the whirlpool of material energy is not qualified to become an Acharya. तो मतलब बेसिकली मैं ये कह रहा था, मेरे दिमाग में आ रहा था कि आप लोग बस अब ये मत कहना कि भगवत गीता नहीं पढ़ रहे हम लोग, बहुत दिन हो गए। इन ईशोपनिषद के जो वर्सेस हैं इसमें भगवत गीता के इतने सारे कोटेशंस हैं। I would tell you कि मतलब you read all these Bhagavad Gita verses and try to understand how Prabhupada is connecting these purports to Bhagavad Gita verses, and try to come up with a bird's eye view of these purports. That will be a great exercise for all of you. ठीक है? Himanshu Prabhu, you want to read from here?
Sure. एक बार highlight कर देंगे क्या? Okay. The conviction that Krishna is all in all is established when one hears the transcendental message from the undisturbed Acharya with faith and love. One who has no faith in or love for Lord Krishna cannot be convinced of the simple truth. Those who are faithless are described in the Bhagavad Gita 9.11 as madhas, fools or asses. It is said that the Mudha, right?
Mudas.
It is said that the Mudhas deride the personality of Godhead because they do not have complete knowledge from the undisturbed Acharya. One who is disturbed by the whirlpool of material energy is not qualified to become an Acharya. Before hearing the Bhagavad Gita, Arjun was disturbed by the material whirlpool by his affection for his family, society, and community. Thus, Arjun wanted to become a philanthropic, non-violent man of the world. But when he became Buddha, by hearing the Vedic knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita from the Supreme Person, he changed his decision and become a worshipper of Lord Shri Krishna, who had himself arranged the battle of Kurukshetra. Arjun worshipped the Lord by fighting with his so-called relatives, and in this way, he became a pure devotee of the Lord. Such accomplishments are possible only when one worships the real Krishna and not from fabricated Krishna invented by foolish men who are without knowledge of the intricacies of the science of Krishna described in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So here one very clear thing is that we have to hear from undisturbed acharyas. So I think we can do an exercise here that at least people can tell who are hearing from undisturbed acharyas. Is anybody hearing? Because ultimately we will understand about Krishna only if we hear. Hearing is the most important thing. Once there was a professor who asked Prabhupada, Professor Durkheim, I think, he was asking that how does your disciples learn about the absolute truth? Then Prabhupada said, hearing, by hearing. Durkheim did not understand. Then again Prabhupada said, by hearing. Durkheim did not understand. Then again he said, by hearing. And then also Durkheim never understood. So actually without hearing you cannot understand the absolute truth, the experience of Krishna. So we can do this activity like it's more of like a questionnaire, that which undisturbed authorities you are hearing from and how you can improve that. At least I will also know that who all are doing Bhakti Shastri, how sincere they are. We have at least, we have 6 devotees here. It can be a quick question. Ravi Prabhu, yeah, go ahead. Ravi Prabhu, you want to say something? Aman Prabhu, you want to say? Which authorities you are in?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Which just
What are the sources of your hearing? Which authorities are you hearing from?
like I'm hearing from Guru. Like there is a
Vishnu
means
Maharaj.
we have our like audio lectures and all. We are hearing from Maharaj directly.
Very nice. Gopal Krishna Maharaj, you are hearing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Very nice. Yeah, Saman Prabhu is hearing from the right authority. And Prabjit Prabhu, Pragya Mataji, you, both of you, which undisturbed authority are you hearing?
Prabhuji, I am hearing Prabhupada lectures and Amrendra Prabhu lectures.
Prabhupada lecture and Amrendra Prabhu lecture. Very nice, very nice. Yeah. Actually, even I have also spent 11 years in Krishna consciousness, but I still feel that Prabhupada lectures are the best. Like, although you keep hearing, you should hear from everybody with whom you have a relationship and who is senior to you. But Prabhupada lectures are the backbone of everything. Like, if you are grounded in your relationship with Prabhupada, everything will be fine. Very nice. And you are hearing from Shashank Prabhu also, right? Okay. And Pragya Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I hear from Prabhupada lecture and Anand Vrindavan Prabhu.
Oh, okay, nice. Prabhupada lecture you are hearing daily?
Yes, Prabhuji, daily.
Okay, alone or in a group?
No, Prabhuji, alone.
Achha,
And
achha.
nowadays I make notes also. And it is very helpful to make notes.
Ah, yes, we should make notes. Maybe sometime we'll hear together. Hearing in the association of devotees is very powerful. Yeah. And Bharti Mata, you are hearing? You are hearing on the Ramapriya Prabhu, no?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Actually, I'm hearing only from you only.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I think I'll start sending some Prabhupada audios also. You can hear. Once a week at least you should hear from Prabhupada.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So, Aman Prabhu, you want to read this? You are late today. But we are happy to have your association.
Yes, Prabhu. I would like to. Actually, I went to my hometown, so there no network problem. There was a network glitch over there.
No problem.
Okay. So, according to the Vedanta Sutra, Sambhuta is the source of birth and sustenance, as well as the reservoir that remains after annihilation. uh, Janmadai Astyayata. The Srimad Bhagavatam, the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra by the same author, maintains that the source of all emanation is not like a dead stone but is abhigyana or fully conscious. The primeval Lord Sri Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita that he is fully conscious of past, present, and future, and that no one, including demigods such as Shiva and Brahma, knows him fully. Certainly, half educated spiritual leaders who are disturbed by the tides of material existence cannot know him fully. They try to make some compromise by making the mass of humanity the object of worship. But they don't know that such worship is only a myth because the masses are imperfect. The attempt by these so-called spiritual leaders is something like pouring water on the leaves of a tree instead of the root. The natural process is to pour water on the root, but such disturbed leaders are more attracted to the leaves than the root. Despite the perpetuality watering the leaves, however, everything dries up for want of nourishment.
Yeah, you can read the next paragraph also.
Okay. Sri Ishopanishad advises us to pour water on the root, the source of all germination. Worship of the mass of humanity by rendering bodily service, which can never be perfect, is less important than service to the soul. The soul is the root that generates different types of bodies according to the law of karma to serve human beings by medical aid, social help, and educational facilities, while at the same time cutting the throats of poor animal in slaughterhouse is no service at all to the soul, the living being. Can I explain like?
Yeah, you want to explain? You can explain.
Yeah. So, okay. So here Prabhupada, Prabhupada is writing like Krishna knows everything, our past, present, and future, and even the demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, they don't know these things, but they don't know the past. I mean, the present or what will be in the future, uh, and they don't know about Krishna fully. And Prabhupada here mentions that these so-called spiritual leaders, they don't know anything about the Lord, or they don't know, but they are means doing some means they are helping the masses to do something. Like for example, Prabhupada has taken the analogy of a tree. If we are watering, means they are watering the tree on the leaves, but actual actual actually we should water the tree with the roots, then only it can grow. So similarly Prabhupada gives the example that these so-called spiritual leaders, they are not means doing the right thing. They are just creating the masses, and they are not following the actual path, and that is the soul. And here also Prabhupada took example that these leaders, they are propagating by means saying that we are helping people by giving medical aid, social help, or educational facilities, but at the same time they are promoting the slaughters of the animals. So means that is not all to this that is not service all to the soul. So that is there.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Actually, यही मतलब what Aman Prabhu is saying, that generally the spiritual leaders, they say that you worship the masses, है ना? You do manav seva, but the real welfare of the soul is chanting Hare Krishna. So just like we eat rice, we eat chapati, we eat pulses to nourish our body. To nourish the soul, we have to chant Hare Krishna. That is the pouring of the water on the root, pouring of the water on the soul. That's what Aman Prabhu is explaining. So unless we chant Hare Krishna, there will be no food for the soul. There is food for the body, food for thought, food for the soul also. There is material intelligence, there is bodily intelligence, there is emotional intelligence, and then there is spiritual intelligence. So all the three we have to nourish. And that's why we have to prioritize chanting the Hare Krishna. And if we are not connecting with Krishna, then actually it's a waste. Like we might be opening hospitals, we might be opening NGOs, we might be giving so-called material education, which is motivating meat eating and cow killing. But ultimately, all that will go to hellish planets. Yeah. Thank you, bro. Thank you for this. So there is this verse in Bhagavatam. Yatha taror mool nishachanena pripyanti tat skanda bhujopashakha pranopahara cha yathendriyanam tatheva sarvarana achyutejya. As pouring water on the root of a tree energizes the trunk, branches, twigs, and everything else, and as supplying food to the stomach enlivens the senses and limbs of the body, simply worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead through devotional service automatically satisfies the demigods who are parts of that Supreme Personality. So when we worship Krishna, when we do unalloyed devotion to Krishna, then we don't need to do anything else. Everything else can be taken care of by Krishna. When Krishna is satisfied, then everybody else will be satisfied. If you are seeing anybody who is in your life who is not satisfied, then it means you are not doing proper unalloyed devotional service. So these are some facts. So Sri Upanishad advises us to pour water. I think we have read this, right? The living being is perpetually suffering in different types of bodies from the material miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death. The human form of life offers one a chance to get out of this entanglement, simply by re-establishing the lost relationship between the living entity and the Supreme Lord. The Lord comes personally to teach this philosophy of surrender unto the Supreme, the Sambhuta. Real service to humanity is rendered when one teaches surrender to and worship of the Supreme Lord with full love and energy. That is the instruction of Sri Upanishad in this mantra. So ultimately, we have to connect the living entities to Krishna. Mami Vansho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, Mana Sasthani Driyani, Prakriti Sthani Karshati. So many living entities are wandering in so many planets only because of their five mana shashtani indriyani, the six senses, the mind and the five gross senses, gross sense of yours. But ultimately, we are part and parcel of Krishna and Mami Vanchuji Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, and we are eternally part and parcel of Krishna. So when we chant Hare Krishna, we feel that connect with Krishna, we feel that relationship with Krishna. So ultimately, we have to go deeper in that relationship. The simple way to worship the Supreme Lord in this age of disturbance is to hear and chant about His great activities. The mental speculators think that the activities of the Lord are imaginary, therefore, they refrain from hearing of them and invent some word jugglery without any substance to divert the attention of the innocent masses of people. Instead of hearing of the activities of Lord Krishna, such pseudo spiritual masters advertise themselves by inducing their followers to sing about them. In modern times, the number of such pretenders has increased considerably, and it has become a problem for the pure devotees of the Lord to save the masses of people from the unholy propaganda of these pretenders and pseudo incarnations. So it's very important to save ourselves from these distractions of the Kali Yuga. The Upanishads indirectly draw our attention to the primal Lord Sri Krishna, but the Bhagavad Gita, which is the summary of all Upanishads, directly points to Sri Krishna. Therefore, one should hear about Krishna as he is by hearing from Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. And in this way, one's mind will gradually be cleansed of all contaminated things. Srimad Bhagavatam says, by hearing of the activities of the Lord, the devotee draws the attention of the Lord. Thus, the Lord being situated in the heart of every living being helps the devotee by giving him proper directions. Bhagavad Gita also confirms this, Tadami buddhi yogam tam yenvam priyate. So this hearing is very important to experience our relationship with Krishna. The Lord's inner direction cleanses the devotee's heart of all contamination produced by the material modes of passion and ignorance. Non-devotees are under the sway of passion and ignorance. So Krishna, who is in our heart, he gives indications. And that those indications actually, the more the degree of Krishna increases, all those lower passion and ignorance layers will diminish. One who is in passion cannot become detached from material hankering, and one who is in ignorance cannot know what he is or what the Lord is. Thus, when one is in passion or ignorance, there is no chance for self-realization. However much one may play the part of a religionist. So that's why it's very important to come to mode of goodness for a devotee. For a devotee, the modes of passion and ignorance are removed by the grace of the Lord. In this way, the devotee becomes situated in the quality of goodness, the sign of a perfect Brahmana. Anyone can qualify as a Brahmana if he follows the path of devotional service under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. Srimad Bhagavatam also says, Kirat Hunandra Pulinda Pulkasha Abhir Sumbha Yavana Kasadaya Yanne Chapapa Yadapashrayashraya Shuddhyanti Tasme Prabhavishnavena. Any low-born person can be purified by the guidance of a pure devotee of the Lord, for the Lord is extraordinarily powerful. Extraordinarily powerful. When one attains Brahmanical qualifications, he becomes happy and enthusiastic to render devotional service to the Lord. Automatically, the science of God is unveiled before him. By knowing the science of God, one gradually becomes freed from material attachments, and one's doubtful mind becomes crystal clear by the grace of the Lord. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogata bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. So we become happy and joyful. Brahma bhuta prasannatmana shuchatinata. One who attains this stage is a liberated soul and can see the Lord in every step of life. This is the direction, this is the perfection of Sambhava as described in this mantra of Sri Ishwar. So actually, like, this is simple spiritual life. We have to receive from our spiritual master, and then we have to give to other devotees. So by this act of receiving the mercy and then distributing it, our heart will become purified, and we will attain ultimate perfection. There will be unlimited spiritual happiness. Brahma Saukyam Tvanantam. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. So we'll become completely happy. Okay. Very ecstatic end to this purport, right? Are you feeling happy and ecstatic after today's session? I think we'll end today. Okay, bro. Prabjit Prabhu is feeling ecstatic. Okay, if there are no questions, we'll continue next Sunday. So I think it will take 2 more sessions to complete Ishwar mission. Okay, bro. Okay, thank you all for joining. Very grateful to all of you. Anchagul Putra Kripasandabhya Patitanam Bhavanabhya Vaishnavabhyo Namah. Jai Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Guru.
Hare Krishna.